talk for longer.
What would happen if we just talked about, like, just ignore that we were doing a podcast and then...
just had a conversation? Yeah. That would be so weird.
So what's up? What are you gonna do this weekend? Okay, no.
Hello and welcome to First Impressions. I'm Sam.
I'm Inês.
And we're here to talk about our first impressions of Iceland.
Since we clearly ran out of subjects...
We're out of ideas.
We went to where everyone goes when they run out of subject with someone.
Which is porn. No, it's the weather.
we wouldn't have a lot to talk about either, would we?
No.
But that should be the subject. Where's... Well...
Anyway...
a lot of politics involved in that, so maybe just abstain from that for now.
I haven't done my reseach.
Yeah, it's weather. It's weather,
Weather.
Guys. Yeah.
We're talking about weather today, and it's fitting because it's terrible out there.
Yeah. I think we should start by saying, like, when you left the plane...
Yeah.
In Keflavik, to be more precise, what was your idea? No, let's start with, before you left the plane, what you think you were going to find, and then when you left the plane, what you actually found.
Well, okay, so it was summer when I got here in Reykjavik. Yeah, summer. It was August, and it was 95 degrees Fahrenheit in Boston, which for you who don't follow Fahrenheit, which is everyone else in the world, it was like 40... no, 30? No, I don't... What's Celsius? I don't know.
Well, just Google.
Just Google it. I think it was around 30.
That's impossible. No, it's like Iceland weather. If it gets to 20, it's like...
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that in Iceland. It was that in Boston.
Ah, okay. In Boston.
Boston, yeah. No. In Iceland, it was like 5 degrees Celsius when I got off the plane.
Okay.
So, but I wasn't expecting 5 degrees. I was expecting like 10 degrees, maybe even 20 degrees if I was lucky, but nothing could have prepared me for this, even though it's Iceland and it's in the name that it's the land of ice.
Yeah, I was in a very, I think, opposite expectation, coming from a quite warm country in the south of Europe.
Yeah.
I thought when I came here that I would have really negative degrees like I had never seen in my life. I thought it was gonna be I don't know, Russian weather, Siberian weather, you know, minus 20 or something. I came in the summer too, and I was expecting I don't know, for the summer I didn't know, but this is my first winter, harsh winter in Iceland, and I was expecting to be much colder.
Yeah.
I think the thing I wasn't expecting was the amount of cyclones and the amount of crazy insane storms that stop you from your life.
Right. Yeah, because most of the country that is inhabited is coastal.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I didn't expect there to be so many such hurricane weather. Of course there's going to be hurricane weather. We're on the coast.
Yeah, but I'm from a coastal country. I inhabit the coast, and we have strong winds, but nothing like this.
No?
Life literally stops, and people really don't seem to care at all, and that for me is amazing. People just kind of they're okay, but that's kind of an Icelandic mentality to be oh, what can I do?
Yeah.
I remember there was this one time I was living in the south of Iceland, and I had to take an internal flight because that happens apparently, and I had to take an internal flight from Reykjavik to Hornafjörður, and the plane was cancelled because of the wind, which happened this week, the same thing with even international flights, and people just went, oh, and left, and I was like, if this was in Portugal, there would be an organized protest in the second. People would be the workers would start to have to battle everyone was just so chill. I feel that somehow the weather makes people very what's the word? Complacent, yeah, in a way. They're just it's nature, it's stronger than us. Who cares?
Yeah, and I guess when you get used to it, I grew up in North Dakota, which it's in the middle of the United States, toward very close to the border of Canada, and
borders of Canada. It's bent. Sorry. Go.
I grew up in the cold like snowy, windy, like these kind of. I'm used to this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand what you're saying about people becoming complacent with, cancellations and but at the same time, people also go about their daily lives.
Yeah.
And
just like I have to go to the bus, and I live really close to the sea here in Reykjavik, and like to get to the bus stop, I have to like just walk just outside of a beach, and like a beach area, and I literally have to like fight the wind.
Yeah.
On my way to get to the bus, and it's just insane that people can live like this. No, I'm joking. But for example, I remember watching a lot of American movies where the school would, or like shows where the school would be canceled because of snow, and I always dreamed of it. I was like, our school was only canceled by strikes, which is like, you go. But still, like, I wanted the school to be canceled by snow, but we had like hail. I remember one time there was a hail shower. Yeah. And everyone was just going nuts because it was the closest to snow that we've ever seen. And I had never seen snow before I came to Iceland, so but I thought it was going to be a lot more snow too. Yeah. Than it actually is. Yeah. And it starts way later than I would think it would.
That was another thing that surprised me is how late the snow begins. Because where I grew up, the snow starts in late October, early November, and it doesn't stop until April.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Humans live in these places.
I
confused.
I asked myself that same question a million times when I was growing up, and I still don't know. I ask myself
this question every day when I'm walking through a storm to get to my bus, and then I'm in my bus, and it's like going like this, and I'm like, who? I love Iceland. Please don't expel me for this comments. I just feel very free in this country. But still, like, who remembered to come here? Like, those Irish monks, like, what were they thinking?
Well,
I probably am...
Life is pain, and that's what those Irish monks were probably thinking.
Yeah, it goes back to that, doesn't it? Because there was no people here, and someone thought, oh, that, like, really hostile place where the weather is insane and unpredictable... Let's build stuff there.
Nobody lives there. It's perfect for a life of solitude and silence.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's why I guess when I lived in the countryside, it was much easier to deal with weather, honestly. Because you don't have to... You only go outside if you want to. Right. You're either at home or at work, and if you're going outside either to go for a hike or... Yeah. Nothing else.
When it's living in Reykjavik, you kind of have to go outside every day. You got to go to the store. You got to get... food or milk, or you have to go to work.
Even if it's just to get away from your housemates. Oh, I know my housemates sometimes watch this. This is not about you.
It is about
It is about you. Just stop vacuuming on Saturdays. Yeah, what more? Driving in this weather.
Yeah, so driving is... I recently got my license, my Icelandic license. I had an American license, but it expired, and so I had to take a test, and it was quite difficult actually compared to the American the American test that I had to take when I was like 16. But I'm glad I got it done before the snow came and this kind of weather started up, because that would have been even more tricky.
I feel like I don't drive, but I've never been so scared in being in a car than I've ever been in Iceland because of weather. Because the roads are in really good condition usually, and it's not that the people I hang out with are terrible drivers or that the buses are insecure, but like it really tests your like will to live when you're in a road in the winter. My mom was visiting sometime in October, and we were like traveling. We did some of the west and the south of the country by car, and in the peninsula.
Seltjarnarnes.
No, up in the west a little.
Oh, up in the west. Yeah, I've never been there.
Yeah,
but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we were driving and it was pouring the whole day.
Yeah.
Pouring. You couldn't even leave the car, you know what I mean? And then we were driving back, and it was still pouring to the point that you could barely see, like, even if the wipers were working really hard on doing their job, you know. And it was the night, and eventually 3 black sheep were crossing the road.
Oh.
And we saw them, like, as we were almost on top of them, you know.
Wow.
And, like, the roads are really, really scary in the winter. And there's this phenomena that I'm gonna complain now about. What is up? What's the thing about... What is up with putting so many sand on the sidewalks? Because...
Yeah.
What happens is that you have the sand on the sidewalks after you take the snow, and then there's a windstorm, and the rocks go into your eyes.
Yeah, so...
Do they do that where you're from?
We don't use sand anymore. We use, like, rock salt or ice melt, which is... But, I mean, maybe it's not good for the environment.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe there's chemicals in the ice melt.
I don't know what ice melt is.
It's a chemical, like, you put it down on the ice, and it like, it's designed to melt the ice.
Okay.
Or to make it so you don't slip. But sand is only so effective. Rock salt is much better. I don't know why they don't use rock salt. Maybe it's expensive.
They use it on the road for the cars.
Yeah.
But on the sidewalks, they just use stones.
Yeah.
Loose stones.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, the winter passes and mounds of, like, random stones and dirt accumulate on the sides of the side.
Yeah.
Oh, this is becoming like a citizen complaint show.
It's a bit of an actual... Yeah, well...
But yeah, it makes me crazy. But... This is going to be an informative podcast now, because I'm going to teach you how to walk on ice.
Oh, yeah?
Literally, not like figuratively. So sometime here in the office, I was complaining that I did not know how to walk on ice because I had never had that experience. Like, we have ice skating rings, but you have to go with skates on them, and it's fake ice. It's probably plastic. They lie to us all the time. For winter, like a month when people are feeling Christmassy. But here you actually have to, like, walk on ice. And I've had several situations where I almost killed myself because I don't know how to walk normally, but then on ice it's even worse. I was really excited to walk on the lake that was frozen because I had never seen a frozen lake.
Yeah.
And there's a little island, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I stepped on the island and I decided to... jump from the island back to the lake.
How did that work
I
for you?
almost broke my back. And on the same day, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. No, on the same day, I was walking to the supermarket and I took a turn that was really icy. I mean, walking, and I fell really, really, really hard on the pavement. And the light was red, so there were like a row of cars looking at the show. And that was the moment that I said, like, enough. I'm gonna be one of those people that has like spikes on their boots, so I can properly walk and not look like a cow on ice. And I was complaining about this, as I do, and the people at the office told me, like, there's a technique to walking on ice, and I'm gonna teach it now and correct the technique if I'm wrong. So it's very basic. First of all, flat shoes, not the greatest idea. Second one, walk with your heels first. And this changed my life. And I'm very happy because you just have to put your heels first and not the tips of your toes, which you usually don't do, but, well, you know what I mean. And then always keep your legs slightly flexed, like your knees slightly bended, and just like put all that strength in those heels.
Yep.
And it's worked.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I have not fell.
Yep.
Now that I've said it, I probably will fall once I leave.
Yeah.
Do you have any techniques?
Yes. If you have to run, like if you're running late for the bus, for example, and you need to run to catch it, the best way to do that is similar. Like, put your heels first and run like a penguin. Like, just knees slightly bent, but don't really move your legs too much. Don't buckle your knees either, and just run like a penguin.
There you go.
And you're less likely to slip on the ice. If you run into an extremely or a particularly icy patch,
just don't walk. Just stay there. Build a house.
Be careful. Yeah.
It's your home now.
Yes, you live there now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I hope it's a good place. Yeah, but like I've seen like Icelandic teenagers and like in their flat how do you say, sneakers and everything, and they just walk with such confidence. I'm like, this.
Yeah, those are advanced techniques.
Yeah,
Once you spend a few years in the ice and snow, then you can start implementing more advanced techniques like running and sliding on the ice.
Wow, that's my goal.
That's one of my favorite winter pastimes is running and sliding on the ice.
You just go, what are you gonna do today? I'm just gonna slide.
Slide on the ice, you know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have some fun. Yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, I look at them and I'm like, I have to master this. Mm-hmm. If this 13-year-old is doing it in his Stan Smiths, not sponsored, I can do it in whatever boots I'm wearing that are probably much more appropriate for this weather. But yeah. Have
you, speaking of things that teenagers do in winter, have you eaten ice cream in the winter time?
I worked in a place that made ice cream. Yeah. So I did eat ice cream in the winter, but still do not understand it at all.
It's amazing. I love it. I feel like somehow it makes you feel warmer when like eating something cold when you're out in the cold. I don't understand.
Makes you feel one with nature.
Yeah. It's very zen.
Everything comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I've been having a real hard time understanding what type of clothes you should wear when in winter in Iceland, because Iceland has a thing that Portugal doesn't have, and that's heaters and actual windows that work. So like back home, I will always be cold, sometimes colder inside the house than outside, because electricity is really expensive. And houses are very poorly built, so like people will put more clothes on when they get home, like thermals, and like we have thermal pajamas and everything that we offer each other for Christmas. And here, like the heaters are pumping all the time. So like if you go in somewhere, you have to take like 5 layers of clothing to not be sweating. So like I'm constantly trying to figure out like, you can use layers with top clothing, but like with bottom clothing, you can just go into a cafe and take off your pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they frown on that.
Yeah, I've tried. I mean, but everyone's like, dude, you can't take off your pants. And I was like, sir? Yeah, I don't know. But overall, I think the winter is being like quite magic.
Yeah.
Even if it's dangerous. It's dangerous magic. I think.
I think that's...
Let's not torture these people.
Right. Thank you for listening and tuning in. We'll catch you next time.